Hi everyone, it's Kai. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a brand new speed build video. Today we are going to be building a coastal cottage in the world of Henford-on-Bagley, and it is the world that came with the Cottage living pack, and it is absolutely beautiful, especially for the lots that are hidden, like scattered along the world map. But anyways, we are building a coastal cottage, which is also a hidden coastal cottage and overgrown coastal cottage in a lot on a lot known as Cordelia's Secret Cottage, and it is on the left side, top side of the world map when you view it on Henford-on-Bagley, and it is one of the most beautiful lots I think for this world. I'm sorry, but the theme, like I said, is an overgrown cottage, so you will see that I put in a lot of like vine yards, and I also had this idea that it was like not really taken care of on the outside of the build, but in the inside it's like a normal home. But overall I think this build is pretty good. It only has one bedroom and only fits a couple of sims, so yeah, even though the number of sims is quite limited for this build, it is a spacious build. So I play tested this build already, and everything works fine. You don't really have to move things around, and there are no obstructions as to whatever your sim faces, so you don't have to worry about that. But this build is already up in the gallery under my ID, which is simmerkhai, and I really hope you guys will like this video because I definitely enjoyed building this build. And I'm not so sure if you can hear the background noise. There are some people drilling over in my house, and today is actually my off day, so I was like planning to complete things for the sims. But either way, you can see that the structure of the house pretty much came together, and I actually built this house twice because the first time I built this I didn't record it at all. I mean, I did record it, but I didn't save the game when I quit the game, so I had to redo it, and I think the second time I built it is a little bit different in terms of the number of grids that I use, but I think overall it's the same shape, and then also the same concept basically. But like I said, it only fits a couple of sims in this build, and the idea that I had was that I was inspired by the coastal color scheme, which includes a lot of like beachy colors such as blue and then sand, mud. I'm not so sure the entire color scheme, but I referred to Pinterest for this, and basically a lot of the posts that I search for, which are like color palettes, they included these type of colors, so I decided to include them in this build and then turn it into a cottage, which is a hidden cottage. And I was also inspired by this post I saw on Pinterest, which basically shows like a Victorian cottage. I think it's a pretty small build, and then the walls of the cottage were surrounded by like vines crawling up all over the wall. And yeah, I was pretty inspired by that because I really like the look of it, so I decided to imply it for this build and at the same time apply some coastal colors on it. So I really hope that you guys will like this build. But overall I think the landscaping also was pretty much easy for me to do. At first I wanted to kind of cover these areas that I used the terrain tool on with some lavenders, but then when I was like landscaping the other parts of the build, they kind of look ugly to me, so I decided to change it. And I think in the end I just went with like normal bushes all around the lot. But overall also this build took me quite some time because I couldn't really figure out how I wanted the landscaping to look like. So I had this idea that it should be somewhat like overgrown and hidden, but then I will also be removing some of the landscaping items because I thought that it looked too messy. So I think you will see after this that I will be adjusting some items here and there. But anyways, I also used the window that came from the Laundry Day stuff pack, which I really like. I saw one of the videos that Miss Griffey does or did. I think it was a botanist tiny home or something. She used this Laundry Day pack and then made a section of the build like pretty see-through. So I decided to get some inspiration from that and then apply it to this build as well. At first I also wanted to put in some of these square hedges, which I thought that it looked more posh, but in the end I didn't go for that, because if I put these bushes over here, you see that one side of it is looking posh, but the other side of it is looking like messy and jungle like. So I just decided to stick to one theme, which is the more to messy type, but in the end I think I will also be removing some of them, like I said previously. And here I was just figuring out what to do with this space, where I removed the hedges, the square ones just now, and then put in some normal bushes to make it look more consistent with the other side of the build. And I also used these colored lavenders from the debug menu because it looked better that way. I think the default color is purple, but I ended up using this sort of pinkish reddish color for it, which I thought looked prettier since it contrasted with the blue color of the wallpaper that is on the exterior of the build. And also you can see that there are basically two transparent quote-unquote sections for this build. One is in the center of the build where I think it will be some of sort of lounge area for that. I'm not so sure because I forgot. I built this last week. And I am recording this voiceover the next week, so I pretty much forgot some of the parts that I did. But anyways, like I said, there is a lounge area in the center, and then over on the left side there is also a transparent area which I will be using as the dining room. After this you will see me furnishing it, so I'm pretty in love with the results for the interior as well as the exterior, so I really hope this one will be a good build. At least for me it is. But then over here I was just deciding what to put for the wall decoration, since I wanted to make it look like an overgrown cottage. So I put in some vines or veins from the get together pack. I usually use the ones that are from the jungle adventure pack, the crawling flowers, either that or the debug menu of the Discovery University pack. But for this one I decided to use the one from the get together pack since it's more flat and it doesn't really like stick out when you size them down. For example, for the Discovery University debug vein, if you size it down, you can still see some of the veins poking through the roofs of the walls when you place it. So I just decided to go with the ones that are from Get Together and also pair them with the flowery ones from the same pack so that they look more like elegant in a way. But as you can see over here, the overgrown concept is pretty much complete for the exterior. And then for the middle part where the lounge area is, I decided to turn the roof of that particular area into a like bushes area covered with a transparent glass roof, which I don't really do, but I really like the look of it, so I decided to include it in this build. And then this part over here is going to be the backyard part, and backyard is pretty much simple because I also imagine that there isn't much technology in terms of like doing your laundry for this house, so there's only a hanging clothes rack. I think that's what it's called. I'm not so sure, but over here we call it as an ampayan. But I also pictured that this house is pretty much simple in terms of like the concept and also the items that your Sims can use. But we are moving on to the interior part of the build right now, and we are starting off with this kitchen, which is blue in color since it's coastal, and I used the counters that are from the Country Kitchen stuff pack. But I don't end up putting any cabinets for it because I don't like the cabinets that come with this kit. So I decided to just put in a shelf from the base game, I believe, and cluttered it up much simpler like that, and then just turned it into a very lived-in space. And then I also put in a wall decoration from the base game, which is slanted, and I sized it down and raised it up so that it fits on the shelf of this build. And like I said, the build is pretty much functional, so everything's functional. You don't really have to like remove things. I'm not so sure if I missed out some things when I play tested this build, but otherwise they should work. But then I was deciding also whether to put these cloud decoration that make it look nicer, I think, but I didn't end up going for those because I don't know, it is like a simple living concept, so I didn't include any posh or cartoonish decorations for this build. But I did end up cluttering this part of the kitchen a lot, and then I will also be putting a cork board underneath the shelf that you see over there. and just put in some postcards to make it look more lived in. And then over here we are moving on to the dining room, and the dining room is located where the one of the transparent sections of the house is. And the dining room is pretty much simple as well. I put in a simple curtain design from the Island Living pack to make it look more covered in terms of the windows, because I use the windows that are from the Moschino stuff pack, which is basically transparent and see-through. So I decided to include in some curtains, and decided that the curtains should be also like smaller in width, because the window frames are pretty big, so there should be some contrast in there. And then over here is a shared space, which is going to be the living room. And the living room is also pretty much simple, with a small TV and a fireplace from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and a rug from the DHD pack, which looks Scandinavian. And I also tried to find some furniture to pair it with and contrast the colors with the coastal theme. So I found these chairs that are from the, I think, Tiny Living or Nifty Knitting Stuff pack. And then also I put in a single armchair from the Paranormal Stuff pack, which is pretty nice in my opinion. And I thought that the color swatch that I picked really suits the colors, the remaining colors surrounding that armchair. So I decided to put it in there, and then just decorated the walls of the living room over here. And it's pretty much simple, and also like cottage core, I guess you can say, because I put in some decorations that are related to it. And then over here is going to be the hallway, which I ended up just putting a forager's desk. I think that's what it's called, I'm not so sure, but it is just a hallway that I pictured that the sim that lives here like drops their stuff before like going back home, like resting and stuff like that. So I decided to just include that forager's desk for your sim to use before they head out for an adventure in Henford-on-Bagley. And then over here, like I said, is going to be the other transparent section of the house, which is the lounge area. I pictured that it is a house filled with plants also, so I decided to include some plants for this section, and it's just a lounge area for your sim to rest. And I think I also will be adding a bookshelf to that lounge area. I'm not so sure, but over here I was just touching up some decorations in which I used the debug items from the Parenthood pack. And then over here, like I said, I put in a corkboard with a couple of postcards from the My First Pet Stuff pack to make it more look lived in and, pretty cozy looking as well. But overall, I think the build is pretty much nicely done. I think this is one of my best builds, I can say, but do let me know what you guys think in the comments, of course, if you like it or not, because I really like it. But anyways, here I'm just touching also up some decorations for the lounge area, and then we are going to be moving on to the bedroom area, I believe, which is where your sim has to go to bed and stuff like that. And then I was trying to figure out whether I should put a bookshelf in here, but I didn't end up doing so because it looked a little bit too awkward when I put that bookshelf in there. And I also used the tool mod to size up these curtains and stretch it a bit so that they fit in the window frame size perfectly, so that would be a lucky coincidence. I think the tool mod is pretty useful because this is my second time using it in my builds, and I think it is a pretty useful tool because you can like rotate objects and also size them up and down to whatever size you like. So it's a pretty useful tool if you ask me, and I will definitely be using it more in my future builds. But over here is going to be the bathroom, which is the only bathroom in this house with a shower thingy and also a sink, and then a hamper for your sim to do the laundry. Other than that, we are moving on to the only bedroom. And then over here I like purposely put in a triangular section because I wanted to use the couch that is from the Cats and Dogs pack, which I really love. I think it is quite hard in terms of structure to build a house with a lot of triangular shape but for this one it is an exception. Even though it doesn't really look suitable for a triangular shape, but I kind of put the triangular area where you can't really see it from the front, so it's nothing to be worried about. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. I think maybe after this I will be furnishing the back part, which is the last part of the video, and I also put in an art easel over there just now because I imagine that the sim that lives here is really into creative skills such as painting and reading, and not much of like technical skills. I think that makes the sim lean toward becoming an engineer or an eco engineer, something like that. But I was also trying to figure out what decorations I should put for the walls. And then over here is going to be the last part of the build, which is pretty much just a bench. But that is the end of the video, I think. So I really hope you guys will like this build. If you do like this video, please give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and comment if you want to. And I really hope you guys will like this build because I really like it. And yeah, I think that is it from me. So I hope to talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!